Hi there, it's Ian here, and you're watching Grumpy Opinions, the show where I'm going to tell you all about what I think of films, TV shows, games, and life in general. Let's get on with the show. Hi there, folks. Picard is a spacey Star Trek sort of drama show from the people at CBS who made Star Trek Discovery, and it's all about Captain Picard and his pals. Episode 4, Absolute Candor, kicks off with a flashback. I mean, every episode by now is kicked off with a flashback after the pilot, but there you go. Are you surprised? I'm not. But this time it's a flashback back to Romulan Aladdin, who's keeping one step ahead of somebody or other, but he must have already eaten his monkey Abu. But Picard appears dressed up like the man from Del Monte, and it seems he's pals with everybody, and especially the kid who's missed him. And he's off to see like the kid's weird ninja nun foster people, and they never lie, because they believe in absolute candor, which is the name of the episode. And it's a little bit odd and stilted, but in the end he ends up reading the kid some Three Musketeers type stuff, and they have a wee kid on sword fight, and before long, he gets a call telling him all about the Mars attacks, and he has to go and went away. And back in the future now, Picard set up the ship's holodeck to look like his own house, because clearly the set was very expensive. I mean, because he wanted to feel like he was at home. And then the quirky crew are trying to bond really badly. But Picard wants to go back to the planet from the flashback because reasons. And they're like, really? And he's like, well, plot, exposition. So off they go. And since nothing's ever easy, when they get there, there's a nasty bad planetary defense system, so they can't land. And they have to be funny about him beaming down. And they're really worried about that. And the evil gang lords or something that run the place, and there's an old Romulan ship running out in that bit of space. And, I'm sure none of this is a setup for later on. But anyway, they managed to quite easily get him beamed down on the planet. It's not a big deal. And it turns out that 14 years later, people still don't like him. And the place has gone a bit racist. And everyone seems a bit poor in a future where people have replicators. I don't understand either. Anyway, he toddles off to meet the nuns, and they look exactly the same, except wee Aladdin's grown up to be an elf now, and he asks him to help, and he's like, no! And then Picard stomps back outside to the cafe, and he throws the Romulans only sign down and stands on it. And it would all be really good and kind of anti-racist, and then he sits down and starts ordering food like, he's an Englishman on holiday in a pub. And understandably, some grumpy Romulans kick off with him. It turns out one of them used to be a senator before the destruction of Romulus, and apparently they actually met each other long ago. But they want to kill him now, so they chuck him a sword, and he's like, nah, after defending himself a wee bit. But then Legolas runs in to help him, and helps him by literally doing a bad kill on all those guys. Okay. And then they beam away before they get shot. But in space, there's no time to cry over spilt green blood, because the space plot point has appeared, and it's shooting at them now. And they can't fly away because they're boxed in and cornered into the planet in space somehow by a small ship. I don't know. Anyway, luckily a new ship appears and it starts doing a good shit on the bad ship, and the good ship's going to blow up, so they beam the pilot over, and wow, it turns out it's 7 of 9. And meanwhile, elsewhere on the Borg Cube, the Robit Lassie is all sort of confused and troubled about everything. So Chad Romulan comes and takes her down for a drink, and then he takes her down to show her something, and they have a big slide down the corridor, and they have great kid on fun. But then he's like, I know you've got secrets, and she's like, oh, I know you've got secrets too, and they fall out a wee bit. But later on, when they're having a sleep, she clearly gets a wee bit amorous. Oh god, no, that's his sister. Anyway, okay, it turns out she's just messing with him, and she does a choke on him because she wants the Robot Lassie dead, but he wants to still do whatever his mission is, and we still don't know what that mission is yet. End of the episode. So what did I think? Well, let's start with the things I liked, okay? Right, 7 of 9 appeared, and that was great. We like 7 of 9, she's awesome. It's great to see her. She used to be in Voyager, and now she's back in this. Only for about a second, so presumably she'll be a big deal next week. And it would be quite cool if she did maybe a team up with Hugh, who was in it last week. So that would be quite cool. We'll see if that happens. I'd like that, might not. It was also quite nice and quaint on the Romulan planet. I genuinely thought it just looked quite nice and homely at the beginning of the episode in the flashback, and then contrasting with how it's gone a bit downhill. I mean, you could say that's maybe just because gangs have moved in and it's gone a bit Old West, but okay, it was interesting if it was a bit threadbare. And I kind of like it was kind of sweet that the Chad Romulan guy and Robit Lassie, they were having a bit of their little in-love moment, like a pair of kids. I mean, it was cheesy, but it was quite nice. And it felt like, the actors were doing their best and they were having a bit of fun. And, the space battle wasn't bad. It was okay. But kind of this is a bad episode. And I think the problem is I'm losing patience with this show. I mean, I'm a patient guy. You know me, I watch things, I'm patient, I get my grumps in, but I tend to give things the benefit of the doubt. I like slow stories and I like letting them unfold. But this isn't unfolding, it's dragging its feet, and it's retreading instead of actually going on with things. Originally, this was apparently supposed to be a 13-episode show, and they shot 13 episodes worth of stuff, and Amazon made them cut it down to 10 or 8 episodes, I'm not sure which, but if there was 13 episodes, does that mean they cut out side plots that would have been interesting that they haven't? Or does that mean it was always going to be this slow? Or does that mean it was going to be even slower getting here? Because, I mean, that's a terrible sign. Because let's say if it's 8 episodes long and we're at episode 4, we're halfway through and literally nothing major has actually happened since the end of the first episode. I mean, nothing major, nothing of great plot importance. It's all been meet the cast and set up and let's get on the way. And I'm going to use an example here. This is kind of like a computer game. It's kind of like something like an old role-playing game like Dragon's Age or Mass Effect, if you like newer ones. And the whole point of those games is you get a group of characters, you go on a big mission, and you got to go around different planets, and you pick up people and you form a party of cool peeps that you can use to fight all the bads and stuff. Now, that's literally what they seem to be doing here. But that's a game, and games are designed to be like sort of 15 to 40 hours long. This is supposed to be a TV show, and it's not supposed to run in the same way because that's not how TV shows work as a narrative. And by now we should be in the meat of the story, but we're not. Picard's barely any further on than he was at the end of that first episode. And the audience don't know where the story's going.
But I might know someone who does.
And how they're going to get there. And it's just taken too long. And none of these plots are really engaging because we don't understand why people are doing what they're doing, apart from maybe Picard, but even he doesn't really know where he's going and what he's doing. He's kind of just heading into space with no real plan. And it feels like that should be a lot easier than it is in that universe. Like, he should just get a shuttle. He should have his own ship. I mean, you know, he's an admiral. He was an admiral. You tell me he doesn't have a spaceship? And more than that, there's like the twee wee Aladdin ninja guy. He feels really out of place. Like, why are there like space samurai people in this universe? Again, that feels like something from a computer game, or like a nod to like Lord of the Rings or to Star Wars. And the absolute Candor nuns, I mean, I suppose that's going to be a setup. I'm guessing that's going to be a bit of comedy. They're going to make ninja assassin Aladdin guy going to be blunt and truthful. I mean, maybe that's going to be a bit like Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy, and they're going to try and make that funny.
My father would tell the story of impregnating my mother every winter solstice.
That's disgusting.
It was beautiful.
But if this is anything like the kind of comedy they put into Discovery, I don't think the jokes are going to land. I think it's going to be really bad. As well as that, like, you know, those scenes with the nuns and stuff, they felt clunky, and it felt like they come up with this idea, but they hadn't written it that well. And, you know, they're just inventing stuff to make it quirky. I mean, that's kind of, Star Trek has done that. I'm not saying that's not completely Star Trek-y, but it felt like a bad setup. And yeah, I've also got kind of issues with Chad and Robit. I mean, particularly the whole wee slide scene. As I said, I kind of liked it. It was cute, but it was a bit over the top. And it feels like they're trying to throw in the equivalent of these people skipping down a beach holding hands to know that they've got a crush.
No, not him. It was in Vietnam.
You know, just, you know, beyond their basic sort of work, spy, sex thing that they've got going on. And the thing with Chad and his sisters turning a wee bit too incesty. It's a bit too cruel intentions. And
oh, sis, you're so tense.
I get that kind of vibe from it, rather than, you know, like not like a Lannister kind of incest vibe. But it just seems a bit weird. And also, just random little things. I really didn't like the fact that they did the whole thing, and it's so cheesily done when they were getting helped at the end by the spaceship, and they were like, oh, we're going to get the pilot. He's helping us. He's going to do this. I'll beam him over. Immediately, I knew it was going to be a female pilot. I mean, I didn't actually realize it was going to be 7 and 9, but it was laid on so heavily with them going,
Open the channel, put him on.
He's asking permission to beam over. His ship's breaking up. His shields are failing.
Beam him in.
Got him.
and this is the kind of show where people say they a lot. That's kind of a Star Trek thing. They don't make assumptions about the gender things. That's, again, lazy, basic writing. It's just not great. But also the bit, right, when Picard walked down the steps at the beginning and he got beamed up, can you do that? I've never seen that on Star Trek. I mean, not that I think you can't beam someone up while they're walking down steps, but surely when he beamed up, he'd be on a flat bit of ground and he'd just trip up and fall over. And at his age, he could break a hip or something. I mean, that just seems like a bad idea. And I'm sorry if I come across sounding narky. I'm not actually narky. I'm just starting to lose patience with the show. I mean, part of what took me so long to get to like the last couple of reviews out was partly because I was busy with like work commitments and life stuff, but also episode 3 was kind of a bit dull, and this one I found tedious, and I was getting a bit pissed off, and I felt like, well, why should I bother? But I've done it now because I did it for you guys, and it's here. How's that for absolute candor? So till next time, I've been Ian, and these have been my grumpy opinions.